Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new exciting stories from life. Finding out my fiancé ghosted me for another man. The aftermath was unbelievable. I never thought I'd be the guy posting my relationship disaster online, but I honestly don't know how else to process this. My life went from wedding plans and happily ever after fantasies to a bad dream I can't wake up from, and I still don't fully understand how it all happened. I'm 30 and up until a few months ago, I thought my life was finally falling into place. I'd been dating my fiancée, Claire, 28F, for almost 4 years. Ours was one of those stories that everyone envied. We met at a mutual friend's birthday. I spilled beer on her shoes. She laughed instead of getting mad, and we were inseparable ever since. She was bright, driven, effortlessly funny. My friends loved her, my mom adored her, and honestly, I felt like I'd won some cosmic lottery. The engagement felt inevitable. She cried when I proposed. We called everyone, popped champagne, and dived headfirst into wedding planning. I won't pretend it was all smooth, what wedding is, but even our arguments felt playful. I caught myself staring at her across the table, picturing us growing old together. We booked a little venue on the lake for a June ceremony, invited over 100 people, made a million tiny decisions: flowers, food, music. Claire threw herself into it. She was obsessed with the details, sending me Pinterest boards at 2 a.m. and color-coding spreadsheets. Then, about 2 weeks before the wedding, things shifted. Claire got quiet. I chalked it up to stress. She was still sleeping over, still texting me goodnight, but sometimes she seemed distracted, always checking her phone, spacing out during conversations. I didn't think much of it. I should have, because one morning, I woke up and Claire was just gone. At first, I didn't panic. I figured Claire went for a walk or ran to the store before I woke up. But by noon, I started to worry. Her phone went straight to voicemail. My texts hung in that gray limbo, unread. I called her best friend Mia, trying to keep my voice casual. "Hey, have you seen Claire today?" A long pause. "No, not since yesterday. Is everything okay?" I searched our apartment for clues, half expecting a note. Nothing. Her clothes were gone, but her toothbrush and some random things were still in the bathroom. Her laptop was missing. That detail stuck with me. I called her parents. They hadn't heard from her either. I was still in denial. Maybe she was just overwhelmed, taking a breather from the chaos. But the hours crawled by. The sun went down. I paced the apartment, replaying every conversation from the last week. Did I miss something? Did we fight? Was there a sign? Friends started texting, asking about last-minute wedding details. I lied. Claire's just running errands. She'll get back to you soon. Every hour without a reply chipped away at my hope. That night, I barely slept. I scrolled through our old photos, trying to decode her smiles. Was she faking it? My brain replayed every memory on a loop. The way she'd squeeze my hand at restaurants. The look on her face when we signed the lease together. I wanted to believe there was an explanation, something innocent. By the next day, it was impossible to hide. My mom came over, worried. I tried to stay calm, but I must have looked awful. Red eyes, hollow cheeks, hands shaking as I made coffee I didn't even drink. "Do you want to call the police?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer. Admitting something was really wrong felt too big, too permanent. But deep down, I already knew. The woman I loved was gone, and she wasn't coming back. Not for me, anyway. The worst part of being ghosted isn't just the heartbreak. It's the humiliation. You become the subject of whispers, speculation, and pity. Within a few days, word got out. Claire had disappeared. People started reaching out, but every call felt like a reminder that I had failed in some deep, personal way. My mom hovered, quietly heartbroken. She tried to be strong for me, but I caught her crying in the kitchen when she thought I wasn't looking. My dad called and asked if I'd done something to scare Claire off, which made me want to scream. I loved her, Dad. I don't know what happened. The venue manager called about our final deposit. The florist wanted to confirm details. Friends and family who'd already bought plane tickets started asking if they should cancel. I didn't know what to say. Every conversation was another tiny funeral for the life I thought I'd have. Mia, Claire's best friend, texted me daily, desperate for news. "If she reaches out to you, please tell me. I just want to know she's safe." But Mia seemed as clueless as I was. No cryptic texts, no secret messages. I started to realize that Claire hadn't just ghosted me. She'd ghosted everyone. I felt like a fool. I went through the motions, working, eating, pretending to function. Nights were the hardest. I'd find myself standing in our dark kitchen, gripping the countertop, mind racing with 1,000 impossible scenarios. Had she been kidnapped? Was she hiding from something? Or was it really as simple and cruel as her just leaving? Social media became a nightmare. Every time I opened Instagram, I'd see old engagement photos, countdown to the big day, posts from friends, and her page, untouched, frozen like a crime scene. The wedding date came and went. Instead of a ceremony, I sat on the floor of my empty apartment, surrounded by unused decorations and a crumpled tuxedo bag. I'd never felt so small or so exposed in my life. But the worst feeling was the not knowing. No closure, just silence echoing in every room. After a week of silence, confusion turned into obsession. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop replaying every last conversation with Claire. I kept hoping she'd walk through the door with an apology or at least an explanation. Instead, all I got was emptiness. My life was on pause, but my mind was running wild. Mia and I teamed up, desperate for answers. We went through Claire's things together, hoping to find a clue. Her favorite jacket was missing, along with some personal papers, but nothing else screamed, goodbye forever. I checked our shared bank account. No suspicious withdrawals, no clues. Her phone was still off. I even messaged her old co-workers, pretending it was about something casual, but nobody had seen her. Late one night, I found myself scrolling through her old emails. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then, I noticed she'd deleted a bunch of recent messages, a habit she never had before. The curiosity gnawed at me. I tried to recover them, and a few subject lines appeared. Can't wait to see you, and plans for next weekend. All from a name I didn't recognize, Alex G. My stomach dropped. I Googled him, scoured social media, and found a guy about our age who'd started popping up in Claire's Instagram likes over the last few months. He lived 2 hours away. The pieces started falling into place. Her late nights, working, her random trips to see old friends, her sudden obsession with privacy. I confronted Mia with what I'd found. She was just as blindsided, insisting Claire never mentioned another man. But now I couldn't unsee it. I felt sick, angry, betrayed, embarrassed all at once. I debated reaching out to Alex directly. Would he even know who I was? Was I ready to hear the truth, whatever it was? Before I could decide, I checked Claire's location history, something I'd never done before, and saw she'd been in Alex's city the week she vanished. Suddenly, everything shifted. The ghosting wasn't about me. It was about running to someone else. I spent a whole night staring at Alex's profile, rehearsing what I'd say. Would he even know about me? Was I about to look desperate, crazy, or both? But the thought of never knowing hurt more than the fear of looking pathetic. So I messaged him. Simple, blunt. Hi Alex, I think you know Claire. I'm her fiancée. She's disappeared. Can we talk? He didn't reply at first. My heart hammered for hours, every minute an eternity. Finally, the next afternoon, his reply came. Hey, I think we should talk. Call me. He sent his number. My hands shook as I dialed. He sounded nervous, too. We talked for almost an hour. At first, we circled around the truth, polite, careful, but it quickly turned raw. Alex said he met Claire 6 months ago at a work event. She told him she was single. They started seeing each other on weekends when she claimed to visit her parents. My stomach twisted as he described her laugh, her favorite food. He knew all the things I thought made our love unique. She never mentioned me? Not once. I asked, barely holding it together. No, I only found out a week ago, when she finally told me everything. That she was engaged, that she was running away from it all. She's here with me. That was it. The answer. She didn't disappear. She chose someone else. I asked to speak to her. Alex hesitated, but said she didn't want to talk. She's sorry. She just couldn't face you. She thought it would be easier this way. I hung up, numb. The humiliation washed over me like a wave. I wasn't even worth a goodbye, just a vanishing act, with a new man already waiting in the wings. I wanted to hate Alex, but honestly, I just felt small. I stared at the wall, clutching my phone, not sure if I wanted to scream or sob. At least now I had the truth. I thought it would help. It didn't. After the call with Alex, it felt like something inside me snapped. The world didn't stop just because mine had. I still had to work, still had to show my face in a town where everyone knew I was the guy who got ghosted. Word spread fast. Small towns always make secrets bigger, not smaller. My mom hugged me when I told her the truth, but her eyes filled with tears. "You didn't deserve this," she whispered, and for the first time, I almost let myself cry in front of her. My dad, awkward as ever, tried to distract me with football scores and stories about people who came out stronger after heartbreak. I appreciated it, but it all sounded fake. Friends reacted in every possible way. Mia was furious. At Claire, at Alex, even a little at me for not seeing it coming. "You loved her too much," she said, shaking her head. "You didn't want to believe she could do this." She wasn't wrong. Other friends just drifted away, not knowing what to say. The ones who stayed tried to set me up on revenge dates or drown my pain in tequila shots. But nothing felt right. Every room felt smaller. Every laugh felt hollow. The hardest part was dealing with all the unfinished wedding business. I had to explain to the venue, the caterer, the DJ, again, that the wedding was off for good. Every email and phone call was a fresh reminder. Even returning gifts stung. Each package felt like a symbol of a future I'd lost. At work, I kept my head down. I heard the whispers. I saw the looks. My boss, a kind woman who'd always liked Claire, asked me if I needed time off. I almost said yes, but I knew time alone would swallow me whole. Better to keep busy. Some nights, the pain was raw and physical, like heartbreak had settled into my bones. Other times, I was just numb, watching old movies in the dark, wondering what I missed, what I ignored because I wanted so badly to believe in happy endings. But the most surprising thing was the anger that started to grow. Not just at Claire, but at myself. How could I let someone else's choices define my worth? Why did I let her disappearance become the whole story of my life? Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I began to patch myself together. Not in some grand, cinematic way, but in the small routines of ordinary life. I started jogging again, at first just to run from the pain, but eventually because the rhythm calmed my mind. I deleted old photos from my phone. The first time was agony. The 10th was just habit. I accepted Mia's invitation to go out for coffee, even if it meant risking awkward silence. "You're allowed to be angry," she told me, reaching across the table. "You're allowed to feel anything you need." She was one of the few who didn't push me to move on or find someone new. Sometimes, we just sat and watched people go by, saying nothing. Therapy came next. My mom gently suggested it, and to my surprise, I agreed. Talking to a stranger about heartbreak was weirdly freeing. I could say all the things I was too ashamed to say to friends. "What do you wish you could ask Claire?" my therapist once said. I thought about it. Why wasn't I enough? Was any of it real? But more and more, I found myself caring less about her answers and more about my own. At work, I poured myself into projects I'd been ignoring. I volunteered to lead a team meeting, started staying late, partly to keep busy, partly to prove to myself that I still had worth beyond being left. My boss noticed. "You've really stepped up," she said one day. For the first time in months, I believed her. Little victories mattered. Clearing out Claire's side of the closet. Cooking for myself instead of eating takeout. Watching the sunrise after a night of insomnia and realizing I'd survived another day. One afternoon, while running errands, I ran into Alex by accident. He looked uncomfortable, but he approached me. "I'm sorry," he said. "I never meant to hurt you." I didn't know. I just nodded. There was nothing left to say. I realized that my anger at him, and at Claire, had started to fade. Not forgiveness, not yet, but distance. Space enough to let myself heal. Spring slipped into summer, and for the first time in months, I caught myself smiling at nothing. Just sunlight warming my face as I walked through the park. The raw ache in my chest dulled, replaced by something gentler, a cautious hope, like new grass pushing up through cracked pavement. Mia convinced me to join a trivia night with friends. I almost backed out at the last minute, but she insisted. "You can't spend your life in the dark, you know." I let myself laugh, even when our team lost miserably. Someone new sat next to me, a friend of a friend named Lila. She was easy to talk to, quick with a joke, and for once, I didn't feel like I was betraying my own past just by enjoying someone's company. Therapy sessions shifted focus. Instead of picking apart the wreckage of my engagement, my therapist helped me rediscover what actually made me happy. "What do you want now?" Just for yourself? She asked. It was the first time I let myself wonder. I dusted off an old guitar, started reading again, and even signed up for a weekend hiking trip with coworkers. I saw Claire once in a dream. She was standing on the edge of a busy street, looking lost. I wanted to reach for her, but instead I turned away, and in the dream, for the first time, I felt free. Waking up, I didn't cry. I just lay there and listened to birds outside my window, feeling the weight of her absence finally starting to lift. Work became less of an escape and more of a place where I found purpose. A new project landed in my lap, something challenging, something that required all my focus. My team's respect reminded me that I could build things, finish things, succeed at things that had nothing to do with love or heartbreak. There were setbacks, of course. Some nights, loneliness still snuck in uninvited. Sometimes the sight of a wedding invitation made my heart race. But more and more, those moments were just passing storms, not the endless winter they once were. And one afternoon, Lila asked if I'd like to grab coffee again. No pressure, she said, but I like talking to you. I hesitated, smiled, and said yes. It's strange how pain changes you. I used to believe that love was all about certainty, that you knew, deep in your bones, when someone was the one. Claire's disappearance shattered that illusion, but looking back, I see how necessary it was. She taught me something I never would have learned otherwise. You can't control who stays or leaves, but you can control how you heal. I stopped seeing myself as a victim. That shift didn't happen overnight. For weeks, I replayed every conversation, every decision, torturing myself with what-ifs. But slowly, I realized that heartbreak doesn't define me. What does is how I choose to move forward. Mia once said, "You're more than what happened to you." At first, I thought she was just being kind, but now I know she was right. I'm stronger, not because I never broke, but because I kept going anyway. My relationship with my family changed, too. My parents stopped walking on eggshells. My mom started inviting me to Sunday dinners again, this time without the awkward sympathy. My dad, usually so reserved, told me how proud he was, just for surviving and not giving up on myself. It meant more than he'll ever know. With Lila, things moved slowly. There was no rush, no urgency to fill the space Claire left behind. Sometimes we just sat together in comfortable silence. I realized that I didn't need a whirlwind romance. I needed honesty, patience, and someone who liked me as I was, not as I wished I could be. I also started helping others online, answering posts from people struggling with breakups, ghosting, or betrayal. Giving advice felt good. It made me feel useful, like maybe my pain could mean something to someone else. I learned that it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to walk away from people who can't give you the respect you deserve. And most of all, it's okay to trust again, even when it scares you. I look in the mirror now and see someone different, not broken, not bitter, but quietly hopeful. If you've stuck with me this far, thank you. I wrote this hoping it might help someone else facing the kind of loss that once felt like it would swallow me whole. So here's what I wish someone had told me at my lowest. The end of a relationship isn't the end of you. For a long time, I let Claire's choice define how I saw myself. I thought if I'd just been more attentive, more romantic, more something, she wouldn't have left. I know now, love isn't a prize you win by being perfect. Sometimes, people leave for reasons that have nothing to do with you, and that's their journey, not your failure. There will be nights when you can't breathe from the pain. When you replay old conversations and search for some clue you missed, you'll feel foolish, angry, humiliated. That's normal. Feel it all, but don't live there forever. The world keeps moving, and so should you. Forgive yourself for loving deeply, even if it ended badly. You are not broken because someone couldn't love you back the way you needed. That's on them, not you. Let your friends and family in, even when it feels awkward or pointless. They'll remind you that you matter, that your story is still unfolding. Say yes to new things, even if it scares you. Small joys add up. A cup of coffee with a friend, a walk at sunset, a song you haven't heard in years. If someone ghosts you, remember, their silence says more about them than it ever could about you. You deserve someone who chooses you, fully and honestly. Never settle for less. As for me, I'm still learning, still healing, still growing. Some scars remain, but they remind me of what I survived. I'm not looking for a fairy tale anymore. I want something real, Messy, imperfect, but honest. If you're reading this and you feel lost, hold on. Heartbreak is just one chapter, not your whole story. Brighter pages are coming, even if you can't see them yet. Thanks, Reddit. Sometimes, the best advice comes from strangers who just get it.